Good morning, afternoon, and or evening. My name is Derek, Professor Silly, and welcome to my series focused on the history of heavy metal music. I will be listening to a selection of albums in chronological release date order and giving my honest reactions, opinions, and then rating the album. Full disclosure, in my younger years, I was a metalhead. I played in a metal band from the ages of 15 until 18, gigging in biker bars with older musicians. I am very familiar with a number of the albums I'll be revisiting and reviewing. Still, there are a lot of albums on my list that I've heard of but never got around to listening to. In the interest of keeping this as fair use, I'll be commenting during the music, without pausing, in order to make sure I don't run afoul of copyright issues. I'm not wanting to pause the music, but rather will be commenting as I feel inspired to do so. I'm also dubious of only hearing something once. Our experience with music grows as we become more familiar with it, so I'll be listening to the album, giving my initial impression, and then repeatedly throughout the following week. At the gym, during walks, I will then rate the album at the end of said week. Finally, if there's a heavy metal album that is your particular favorite, let me know in the comments. If it's not on my list and I haven't passed the release date in my journey, I'll happily add it. My list has over 100 albums on it so far, but could always use a few more. Right, so Black Sabbath, Master of Reality. I've never listened to this album. I never procured it. I don't know what all songs are on here. I don't know which of these songs I may have heard before, and which ones I haven't. I have no idea. This is a first-time listen. This album was recorded between February and April 1971, and then released in August of that year. The track listing between the UK and the US release are different, but it looks like that's because they just added some extra titles for transitional sections on the US, but the music looks like it's going to be the same either way. They just had like title/title for the US release, and the UK release, it was just title. That's what it looks like to me. Without listening to it, I'm guessing a little bit, but we'll see. What else to say about this? I'm excited. The last two Black Sabbath albums I both rated as S tier. I don't know. Will this one also be S tier? I don't know. All right, I see that the first track on the album is Sweet Leaf. I've heard this song before. Now that I'm looking at the song titles, this is one I know with 100% certainty I've definitely heard it before. But I'm going to listen to it anyway with headphones because I don't think I've ever listened to it with headphones on before. My stereo. Already, the tone of the guitar and the bass, awesome. Especially the guitar. Excellent. Nice bass lick there. Got a second guitar. Doubling it up, but as a lead. Playing in the same melody, but higher up. Never noticed that before. Almost sounds like a horn. Almost. Nice. Big gong. Not sure it actually has a gong or a big cymbal of some kind. I'm not a percussionist. Oh, yeah. That sounds so thick.
Come on now. Try it out. Great people don't know what you're about. They put you down and shut you out. You gave to me a new belief, and soon the world will love you sweetly. Oh yeah, baby. Come on now. Oh yeah. Try me out, baby. All right. Oh yeah. I want you right the sweet thing. Oh yeah. All right, yeah.
Nice little bit of percussion there. Almost reminiscent of some of the percussion at the end of I Want You, She's So Heavy by the Beatles on Abbey Road. Yeah, super familiar with that. But now, if I'm going to nitpick, and hear me out, after listening to the last two albums over the course of the last few weeks and getting really familiar with them all over again, refamiliarizing myself with them, this song, I don't think it's as strong of an opener as Black Sabbath or War Pigs. Still a great song, but not as good as those two. Also, vocally, kind of reminds me a bit of NIB, but not quite as good. So, still a great song, but so far doesn't feel as strong as the other two albums. After Forever, the title does not sound familiar to me. I don't know that I know this song. I mean, that's very Beatles-esque bass. This is not familiar.
Have you ever thought about your soul? Can it be saved? Or perhaps you think that when you are dead, you just stay in your grave. Is God just a thought within your head, or is it part of you? Is Christ just a name that you read in the book when you were in school?
Yeah, Paperback Writer. Just in this part. but then it goes into this, and notice that other part sounds very Beatles-esque. This does not. So love it.
When you think about death, do you lose your breath or do you keep your cool? Would you like to see the Pope on the end of a rope? Do you think he's a fool? Well, I see the truth, yes, I see the light, and I've changed my ways. And I'll be prepared when you're lonely and scared at the end of our days. Could it be you're afraid of what your friends might say? Then you believe in God above. They should realize before they criticize that God is the only way to love.
Lumbering.
Is your mind so small that you have to fall in with the pack wherever they run? But if you'll stare when death is near and say that you may as well worship the sun. I think it is true, it was people like you that crucified Christ. I think it is sad the opinion you had was the only one voiced. Will you be so sure when your day is near, say you don't believe? You had the chance, but you turned it down, now you can't retrieve.
Oh, a new thing. Cool parts, but it feels very cut and paste.
Perhaps you think before you say God is dead and gone. Open your eyes, just realize that He is the one. The only one who can save you now from all the sin and hate. Or will you hear us all you hear? Yes, I think it's too late.
I wish that melodic bass was doing things just slightly differently each time, more noticeably different each time. Back to that interesting, maybe early synth sound. All right, so when I say cut and paste, what I mean by that is I feel like if this song was recorded nowadays by a band that didn't have the chops, they would record each section and they would just put it together, copy and paste in like Pro Tools. One of the things I love about certain producers, like say Trent Reznor, is that the stuff I've heard from Trent Reznor, he goes to pains to make sure that if anything repeats, something is being added or taken away so that it's constantly changing. This last track felt like when you have song structures, you'll be like song structure, like much like a poem could be like A, B, A, B, A, C, B, 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 B. or something like that. Verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, chorus. This song felt very formulaic in that regards. I liked all the individual parts. Just as they were repeating, I was like, okay, this part again. Okay, this part again. So I'm nitpicking. I'm sorry. Embryo. This one does not sound familiar as a song title either. I don't know that I know this song. Let's see what we got here. Oh, it's short. It's super short. We're almost done already. Okay. Okay. That song reminded me of something super obscure from, I want to say, the early 2000s. There is an album by a guitar player. I don't believe it was released in the US. I believe it was only released in Japan. It's available as an import. I got it as an import sometime in the 90s, because it was when I still lived in Iowa. So it's 1990s avant-garde album called Shrek by Mark Ribot, or Ribot, something like that. Nothing to do with the movie of the same name. I don't think it's not even spelled the same. Shrek, I believe. It is a avant-garde guitar album that, hearkening back to, say, Cecil Taylor, the jazz pianist, who got ran out of clubs for purposely playing wrong notes. Shrek by Mark Ribot is very disjointed, and it sounds like there's wrong notes being played, but they're being played so consistently and each and every time that clearly that's what's meant to be. I don't know if this was so much that, as just maybe it was just slightly out of tune, but it gave that same sort of delightful, disjointed, broken toy feel. I like that. I'm as a fan of avant-garde music, and there will be some avant-garde metal that we'll get to when we get into the mid to late 90s and into the early 2000s. Definitely going to be some avant-garde metal on my list. All of which I'm already familiar with, but I think it deserves a place in the journey and be compared with all of the stuff that came before. I feel that's important. Yeah, I dug on that. I could see like maybe that might be people's least favorite track, but I thumbs up from me for that one. Okay, Children of the Grave. I've heard this song title before. I don't know that I've heard the song. I'm definitely familiar with the title. This is the end of side 1. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I've heard this. Yeah. Cool percussion. Nice. like Ozzy's delivery on this song, too, so far. Almost sounds like he's playing on drums with the hands. Excellent reverb on that higher guitar. The cat. Yeah. There's another instrument in there. Almost sounds like a harmonicum. Is that what it's called? No?
So you children of the world, listen to what I say. If you want a better place to live in, spread the word today. Show the world that love is still alive, you must be brave.
Melodica. Almost sounded like a melodica.
Children of the grave, yeah.
Having all the percussion during the solo makes me think of Spoon Man by Soundgarden. Need to bring back the album volume a little bit. It was redding out. Oh, we're not done yet, though. Spooky. Spooky. Got a little whispering. Definitely heard that song, but not nearly as many times as the other songs from the other two albums. So there were definitely little surprises throughout. I mean, I'd heard the opening riff. I don't know if I've ever noticed some of the complexities. That might just be because I'm listening to it on headphones. The percussion, the hand percussion that was kind of like, I didn't know if it was going through the entire thing, but it was definitely showing up during certain parts of it. Reminded me a little bit, not only of later Soundgarden. I'm pretty sure Soundgarden said that they were influenced by Black Sabbath more admittedly. Also reminded me a little bit of some of the percussion stuff on the last bit of the first Zappa album. Zappa was a percussionist originally before he switched to guitar. And so like It Can't Happen Here, Help I'm a Rock, and then Return to the Sun of Monster Magnet. There's a lot of percussion happening throughout all of those. I don't know how much of an influence Zappa was on Sabbath, but it's not inconceivable. All right, on to side 2 with Orchid. This one does not sound familiar. I don't know if I'm familiar with this at all. Immediately thinking of some Metallica. That's almost a little Deep Purple right there. Has that classical feel it feels very much like Blackmore. This may be the most articulate thing I've heard from Black Sabbath yet. That doesn't sound like a electric bass. That sounds more like either a bass with a bow, a stand-up bass with a bow, or like a cello. That was short. Oh yeah, 131. Okay, yeah. That was a short track. Interesting. It doesn't sound like any other Black Sabbath we've heard so far. Okay. I'm curious to read up a bit more about how that track came to be, because everything else we've heard from Black Sabbath may have little glimmers of other things that it came before, but it was still definitely Black Sabbath. That feels way more influenced by and maybe even derivative of things that other people were doing. Wasn't bad, just didn't feel like Black Sabbath. I'm curious how my opinion on that might change over the course of the week. All right, Lord of This World also does not. None of the rest of the names, song titles sound familiar, so I'll stop saying that. Is that going to a fifth and then like augmented fourth tritone? Sounds like it might be. At that point, it's not a diminished fifth anymore.
You're searching for your mind, don't know where to start. Can't find the key to fit the lock on your heart. You think you know, but you are never quite sure. Your soul is ill, but you will not find a cure. Yeah!
That Ozzy is sounding more like the Ozzy that Ozzy would become than the Ozzy we've heard so far. If that makes sense.
Your world was made for you by someone above.
Not sure if it's the bite.
But you choose evil ways instead of love. You made me master of the
Okay. Ooh, nice. Okay. I have many thoughts, but I don't want to get too far into it until after the song. Okay. Uh-huh. A little cowbell. Because why not? I'm liking the key changes, or the chordal modulations. They're not really key changes. The chord progression. Good tone. Right, so good tone. I'll give him that. Good chord progression. Give it that. Again, if I'm being nitpicky, which apparently that's what I'm in the mood to be today, that song didn't feel different enough than everything else we've heard on the other two albums. It felt like we were rehashing ideas that were already done. Don't hate me. Don't give me hateful comments. This is why I'm going to live with it for a week. That's just my initial impression. All right, Solitude. Ooh. The guitar by itself might sound like a lot of other stuff is happening, but the bass makes it. We're definitely hearing a different side of Tony Iommi on this album. Flutes.
Chinese far away, clouds linger on. Everything I possess, now they are gone.
That's a surprising approach and delivery and tone from Ozzy. He sounds clean. Like, his voice is really clean. And quite nice. Bass is almost taking an arpeggio approach. It's not quite that complicated, but like super simplified arpeggio.
Stop crying since you went away. You went away. You went away.
I think I mentioned during the last album, during Paranoid, that one of the tracks felt like driving through the desert at night. This has that same feel. Maybe not the desert, but driving at night. Like, not in the city. Planet Caravan, that was the song that I was thinking of. Whereas Planet Caravan feels a bit more sci-fi, though this feels more fantasy. Probably the flute. Flute and guitar are both contributing to that. I think the reverb on the vocals on Planet Caravan also makes it more futuristic than this. Well, that was interesting. If I had heard that song outside of this, I don't know that I would have known that that was Black Sabbath. I'm not sure who I would have thought it was, or if I would have even bothered to, want to look it up. I might have assumed it was like some simplified progressive rock tune that I wasn't familiar with, or something like some early Genesis. I haven't listened to much early Genesis, so like some Genesis or something that I just had never heard before. I really dug what Geezer Butler was doing. He was really the foundation, like the anchor for me in keeping me in it throughout. That leads us to our last song, Into the Void. Let's see if I know this one. That sounds familiar. I bet this song's been covered by a lot of like doom metal bands. I bet. In fact, I'm looking that up now. Ooh. Great tone. Yes, Soundgarden covered it, and I've heard the Soundgarden cover.
Rocket engines burning fuel so fast, up into the night sky they blast. Through the universe the engines whine, holding to the end of man and time. Back on earth the flame of light burns low. Everywhere is misery and woe. Pollution fills the air, the land and sea. Man prepares to meet his destiny.
Apparently, James Hetfield and Eddie Van Halen both list this song as one of their favorites, or the riff, or the song. Not surprised by that.
So fast, up into the black sky, so fast, running metal through the atmosphere. Earth remains in worry, hate, and fear, with the hateful battles raging on. Rockets flying to the glowing sun, through the empires of eternal void, freedom from the final suicide.
Ooh.
Freedom fighters sent out to the sun. Escape from brainwashment and pollution. Leave the earth to all its sin and hate. Find another world where freedom waits. Past the stars in fields of ancient void, through the shield of darkness where they find love upon the land, the world unknown, where the sons of freedom make their home. Leave the earth to Satan and his slaves.
Oh, that riff, yeah.
They're in their graves. Make a home where love is there to stay. Peace and happiness in every day.
Great tones as on the bass and guitar. Again, Nice, nice. All right. Oh, hey, we're done. All right. Yep. That was probably my favorite track on the album. Overall, I really enjoyed that. Okay. So my initial impressions are I don't like this as much as the other two. Looking at the Wikipedia, it looks like there's a lot of musicians that consider this their favorite. So we'll see how I feel about it after a week of listening to it. It's not uncommon for me to not consider a particular album my favorite, and yet my favorite song from a group is on that album. That's certainly true with, say, like with Radiohead. Their last album, Moonshaped Pool, not my favorite album of theirs, but it's got my favorite track on it. So take what you will from there. Into the Void may be my favorite one yet, as far as just tracks go. I'd have to put all three albums like on shuffle to really like test that theory, which I'm not opposed to doing. When a band has when a band has multiple albums that are all really good like that, sometimes I like to just put all the albums on shuffle and see what really stands as an individual track versus how things flow in an album format. Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to this week. This is going to be a fun week. It's a shorter album, but I know there's like a 1974 performance from them. As I move further and further into these albums, I'm looking forward to revisiting that, and I'll actually know every song they're playing at a certain point, which will be nice. Because I'm sure I've like watched that, but I may have skipped around in it and maybe like, this doesn't sound familiar. I'm just going to skip ahead to something I know. That may have been a thing at some point or another. All right, so let's skip forward to next week. All right, this album is a bit of a conundrum. On the one hand, my now two favorite songs by Black Sabbath are found here: Children of the Grave and Into the Void. I don't think it's a coincidence that these two tracks, along with Lord of This World, which I also very much like, feature an innovation not found on the two previous albums, the C-sharp standard tuning. That's why these songs sound so heavy. They're down-tuned 3 semitones below D tuning. And the entire guitar and bass are dropped, so it's not like a drop D tuning. It's still a standard tuning. Makes them freaking heavy. On the other hand, the heaviness of those tracks make the non-C-sharp tune songs, After Forever and Solitude, sound weirdly light and, dare I say, weak. The songs are solid. They just sound diminished in the course of listening to the album from track to track to track. So, with that in mind, and we're going to see this with some of the other album, at least one other album that I know of on my list that I'm pretty familiar with. When you've got songs that are clearly brilliant, genius songs, and then you've got other songs that are just good, the album can't be considered perfect at that point. And so I'm falling under A on this. And this led to a bit of a crisis for me because I was like, Well, shoot, if Master of Reality, which has my favorite Black Sabbath song so far on it, isn't S tier, well, is Paranoid S tier? I went back and listened to Paranoid. Yeah, Paranoid's S tier. It's a better album than Master of Reality. Even though my favorite songs are found here, overall, Paranoid's just a better album. I went back and listened to the first one. I'm like, is it clearly better? Yeah, I think it is. So I feel very comfortable putting Master of Reality under A tier and leaving the first two under S tier. Even though, God, Into the Void and Children of the Grave are so good. So good. I'm curious to see where Black Sabbath goes from here. To me, Ozzy's great. Ozzy's a legend. But what everybody else is doing on Master of Reality is genius. Geezer, Bill Ward, Tony, all three of them are just S-tier musicians. It's a delight to listen to it. Right. I'm getting so many comments and adding more and more albums to the list. The list is growing, and I'm getting a lot of calls for stuff that we've already passed the release date. So I'm thinking of how I can accommodate requests to go back and listen to other stuff, such as In Rock. My review of Fireball, many people would like me to check out In Rock more formal manner. I'm figuring out how I can do that without falling into the trap of constantly going back to earlier albums within this journey. So I'm working on that. In the meantime, if there's anything you want me to add, let me know in the comments. The comments have been great so far. We're all not going to agree on everything, but that's okay. The journey and the experience, that's the important stuff. So like and subscribe if you are inclined to do so. And I will see you next week with some Led Zeppelin. Ta-ta.